We're going to turn to 6 of our staff members now who are going to speak from their own mission area. First up, do we have Jen Deleon with us? I know that Jen was helping out at a funeral today, so perhaps she hasn't made it here yet with us. So Jason, she had a couple of pieces that she had asked you to share. And if you would pull those up, I'll speak for her then. You know that on our website, welca.org, we have our Ministry in Action section. And one of the specific ones is the justice page. We have discipleship. You can see that on your screen right now. And if you go to the justice section, you'll see we have divisions of information there about those areas that I mentioned. Some of them, human trafficking, racial justice advocacy, our racial justice advocacy network, and domestic violence. Here is where we try to provide those resources for you and your congregational units. If you click, Jason, on the human trafficking link, we can see what kind of information we have there. We have a variety of things. A way to get to the National Human Trafficking Resource Center. If you scroll down, you'll see the kind of work that we were doing at the last youth gathering there. We keep going a little bit further, and we have some other resources. Right here, we have a resource from one of our partners, Cherish All Children. It's a 4-segment study that you can use. And if you scroll down one more, I think we have a little bit more. Yeah, here we have one of our own resources we've created on the left, Understanding and Responding to Human Trafficking. We have a PowerPoint presentation that if you want to give an intro to human trafficking issues to a unit or in a congregational setting, you can have that right there. And then we have some other links as well. Okay, Jason, if we could scroll back up and we'll take a look at our racial justice right there. Yes, advocacy. This is where we have a variety of resources that talk about our racial justice advocacy network. This is the current iteration of what has grown out of the Today's Dream, Tomorrow's Reality that we had in the past. If you take a look here, you'll see that there are ways for you to actually join this network. The network has, as Lisa mentioned, a closed group on Facebook that has a lot of folks who are part of it, not just ones who you might know, but lots of women who are partners in this effort with us. And we have a variety of, if you are part of the network, we have resources that you can draw on as you go out and do your work as well. Really encourage you to continue to look at that. And then is there anything further on that page? I don't recall. Yeah, we have a listing of our some books that you might want to engage in reading. Some of our SWOs have done that and held online book discussions. There's a lengthy one there. And then one more right down there. Yes, we had an event in June that was on the topic of racial solidarity in times of a pandemic. And these are 2 of the PowerPoint presentations that were used as part of that event. And yeah, so that is what Jen would have wanted you to know about racial justice work and the whole area of justice work. And if you have any questions, you can always be in touch with her. Thanks, Jason. Next, we're going to hear from Audrey Riley.
Thanks, Linda. Jason, I sent you a PowerPoint. Can we put up the first slide of it? It's coming soon. I know that people sometimes think stewardship is just for treasurers, but no, stewardship is all of us. Leaders, disciples, stewards, it all goes together. Well, we're going to be pivoting into all of us thinking of stewardship as something that belongs to each of us. So we know what leaders do. We know what disciples do. But what do stewards actually do? Now, here's where you're thinking, ew, she's going to talk about money. Ew, she's going to tell us we have to ask people for money. And then she's going to ask us for money. Double yuck, stewardship talks. Well, no. Money is important, of course. I can't say that it's not. but it's only part of what stewardship means. Money is just a means to an end. So while we're waiting for the PowerPoint to come up, think about what does it mean to be a steward? And we're going to talk about that in a second. What does a steward actually do?
Okay, Audrey.
There we go. That's it. What do stewards actually do? All right. Next slide. There we go. A steward is someone who takes care of something that people care about. She takes care of something important so that she can hand it on to her successor in good shape. Farmers know this. Farmers are stewards of the land that they farm. Farmers know that they want to leave it in good shape for the next generation. Next slide. In our context, a steward is someone who takes good care of our women's organization with an eye to a future. Sounds nice, but let's get practical. How exactly do we do that, especially now with the pandemic and everything? Let's talk about that. Next slide. How do we take care of the ministry that we care about? By knowing how it works, inside and out, top to bottom. We know our constitutions inside and out too. We know about our 3 different expressions. We know how they're all 3 interdependent and how they work. We know the formal names for things, which are right there in the constitutions. And a good steward takes care of the ministry by knowing all about it. There we go. The next thing that we need to know as we take care of the ministry we love is to know where to find more information. And our website is a good spot for that. You'll see welca.org/tools-for-leaders. They're right up there on your screen. Welca.org resources. And not to toot my own horn, but welca.org stewardship. But anyway, next slide. There we go. Taking care of the ministry we care about, we need new ideas in a new time. It is a whole new time. And it really helps when we know who to talk to get new ideas, to talk them through, to decide if this is a new idea that's going to work well in your context. So I know that we've all shared a lot of great ideas this weekend, and we can keep doing that. So trade emails, trade phone numbers, keep in touch. You can also consult your church-wide board members as well as church-wide staff. But as Linda said, remember, we're working fewer hours, so you might have to leave a voicemail, but we will get back to you. Next one. So how do we take care of the ministry? It's by knowing who we serve, the participants in our congregational units. That's an important thing. Sometimes we think that our ministry is just us few around this table, but it's the women in our units who are the ones we really serve. Next. And knowing how to keep in touch with the women we serve. There are so many ways to be in touch, even if we can't get together in person. Facebook pages, websites, all these things here. A good steward knows how to use them, or she knows someone else who does know how to do it. A good steward is always ready to learn something new to take care of the ministry we love. I learned just yesterday that Zoom conference calls, let's say someone does not have a laptop and good Wi-Fi. I mean, my Wi-Fi is kind of shaky here in this old house. You can phone in on a Zoom call and it's just like a conference call. You can listen to each other. Next one. And how do we take care of the ministry we care about? By knowing it's going to look different and it's going to be all right. That's the most important thing to know. It's going to be all right.
Very good. Thank you, Audrey.
Sure.
And Elizabeth Mcbride is joining us next.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to share my screen. So we'll see. Oh, you might have to make me a host. I'm sorry, Jason. Oh, I am a host now. Okay. Try it again. Okay. So Linda shared with us some of our, the leadership toolbox, and the bottom part is about the plan. And I like how the Reverend Dr. Wivetta Bullock tells us that it involves staying focused and balanced and look for opportunities right where we are. And so that's what intergenerational programming and intergenerational ministry is. So I'm just going to tell you a few things that we've been doing to create entry points, to build authentic relationship and expand community. So Bishop Eaton mentioned that this question was probably like $1 million question, or if she had $1 for every time somebody asked something like this. And that's a question we are all familiar with. So I would like us, though, in order to increase authentic relationships, which are sustainable, I would like us to focus on getting new women, new and young adult women. So I'm going to just talk about things that we've done to ways that we've had to pivot to include that. Just one second. Sorry. So can you go talk to wait, I have a babysitter for the first time. Okay, I love it. Looks great. Thank you. Sorry. Just a moment. And we're pivoting. Anywho, so so when we've pivoted is moving from an event that was in person on the Bold Cafe. We used to have networking events where we would connect readers and writers and friends. And we would do this at conventions, or we would have storytelling events, or we would meet for chocolate or cocktails. So we decided that since that wasn't possible, that we would move it to Zoom. And so every month we've been meeting for dinner with popular Bold Cafe writers and friends. We started this in October, and our first one, we had 6 women and a man join us. And that was in October. By January, we had 40 women sign up to attend Dina's. Our very own Dina Valandra was our guest. And she spoke to us about the Enneagram and shared some of her knowledge. And we had about 20 women showed up. So 40 women signed up, 20 women showed up. And then in February, we had the Reverend Raylan Robinson, who is a popular Bold Cafe writer, and she's in her first call in Wichita, Kansas, and she spoke to us about self-care and during this pandemic world. So these were opportunities for authentic connection. This space is totally casual. It's totally low tech, probably because of my knowledge of Zoom, but it's come as you are. And that's the entry point that we want for creating and sustaining authentic relationships, especially intergenerational relationships, which the women that join us and men that join us every month vary between the ages of their 20s all the way on up. So, and it was so popular in our January one with the Enneagram, that we had such great conversation that we decided to shift and add a Facebook group that we've gotten started. Connected to this dinner, so we can continue building this relationship. So some of the ways that you can in your location, what you can do is to increase visibility and to get more participation for new and young adult women. And so I'm just going to go through some of these ways. Changing location. When we used to meet in person, we would always advise that you, instead of just sticking to the same, maybe fellowship hall in your congregation, maybe go out somewhere else in the community and have an event there with other people. And that can, in the meantime, Zoom is perfect for that. If you have the availability and you have the internet, and you can expand your reach that way. Social media and web, when we were talking about this event, we put it on Women of the ELCA's Bold Cafe webpage. We circulate it through Women of the ELCA's event page on on Facebook, and we put it in Bold Connections and in all through Bold Cafe's other social media channels. So when you have an event, make it as visible as possible and use all the channels available to you. And when I say social media, I guess I'm also not just saying to focus on your units page, but really your own page. When you read an article about Gather that moves you, or you participate in the monthly dinner, share these links with your friends, with your community, so they can have entry. Same thing with congregation announcements. Make sure you list your events that you're doing with WELCA with your congregation in any way that they are putting out information, maybe on their own Facebook page and Twitter, Instagram. Same with newsletters. Connect with your synodical newsletter editors and include that information. You can talk to Jason maybe. I'm sure he would love to promote events when people in his synod. So there are tools, and if you don't know who the webmasters are, there are people that do, that you can get in touch with. Also bulletin ads, same thing, once we start worshiping in person. But sharing the goods, like I had mentioned in your social media, reading Gather, participating in this event. How many of you posted or maybe shared a picture of what we all look like on Zoom at this event? So that's a really important way, is sharing what you know, and so other people can join in. And most importantly, the strongest form of marketing is your personal invitation, word of mouth. So that doesn't change, and that doesn't require the internet. So you can at any time talk about what you get from this community of women and how you can share and be part of this community. So I just want to close with, authentic relationships are sustainable. So in order to grow this community, we need to form authentic relationships, and a lot of it is just giving opportunities for people to participate. So I don't know if I'm in the chat. I'm going to stop sharing. Oops. Sometimes I lose my menu here. Oops. I lost my mouse. Okay, there we go. I'm going to stop sharing that, but I'm hoping in the chat that I will add my email address and link to Bold Cafe. And so we can feel free to check that out and join us for our next Bold Cafe dinner. And read, if you haven't checked out Cafe recently, check it out now. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Beth. We have 3 more people to hear from. Eva, you're up.
Okay. Jason, I'm ready for sharing the screen. We're going to talk about pivoting and a plan for membership. And this is really exciting for me because I had an opportunity to see a lot of women who are participating other than our synodical presidents. And a lot of women have been excited about that. A lot of women in some of the groups that I was in, they were very excited that we opened up this opportunity for them. Give me a second. Well, I will start out with a place for you. Now, a place for you, I know normally we would have our brochure, but now we're pivoting to the place for you in a PowerPoint. So that is one way that we are pivoting. This PowerPoint is located in the membership page on our website. It is available in English, and it's also available in Spanish. So you can use a place for you. It highlights our resources. It includes our purpose and our mission statement. And you can, at the end of the PowerPoint, you can also include information about your Synodical Women's Organization and maybe uplift some of the highlights of congregational units. So you're providing a story for women who don't know anything about the organization, but you are actively letting them know that you can be a part of our community. So increasing membership is very important. If we don't increase membership, then we don't have the women that we need to share the gospel and to share our mission and to share our resources. And the resources that have already been mentioned, a lot of women have used them, and a lot of women are sharing them with family members and they're sharing them with their congregation. So we want you to increase membership by sharing all of the resources that we have. Now, part of sharing membership also is going on our website. We have many resources that you may not even know about. But if you scroll down to our resources listed on our webpage, you will find resources that you can share, especially when it comes to bold women in your communities. Now, mentorship. Mentorship is really important. And I want to say that Dr. Wyvetta Bullock, she really hit it on the head for us. She hit it on the head for us with her toolkit. And the toolkit will give us an idea of how we plan and how we mentor. We must reach out to all women. We must reach out to intergenerational um, women. We must develop partnerships. We can reach out to seminaries and campus ministries as well. So our reach has to be broad so we can become creative. We can be bold women as we reach out and we mentor to others. So, for the women who have been in our organization for a while, you can share how you became invited to our organization. Invitations are very important. A lot of women may not know about the organization. We already know that. But you, as a leader, can share your story. Stories are very important, and everybody tells a different story. So use your story to mentor a young woman, a young mom, and also you can share your story with your pastor who may not know about Women of the ELCA. Share your story with a campus ministry, as Beth has already mentioned as well. So connecting is very important individually. And through authentic relationships, we can build and increase memberships. So now I want to bring your attention to sharing the benefits and the opportunities in community. The benefits that we have for women of the ELCA are our resources. Another way that you can stay connected through all of our resources and what's going to be happening in Women of the ELCA and our events, you can do that right now by signing up for Bold Connections. You can sign up from the bottom of our webpage under Stay in Touch box. This way, you won't miss anything that we have for you in the resources. And we want you to share everything that we have for you. Other benefits that we have are daily grace as well. You can sign up for daily grace and receive devotionals every day. Other opportunities in our community are leadership opportunities. So, as leaders for women of the ELCA, you have been developed by our trainings, our events. We have workshops that have been given at our triennial gatherings, even though we don't have that today. But just think about the experience and what you gained by being a part of our community. Those are opportunities that you want to share in your community and lift up the benefits that we have for everyone. So, in ending my presentation, I also want to point out under Tools for Leaders, there is a wealth of information for you. As a synodical president, the Synodical Leaders Report is listed, and you can download that free fillable form. You can save it, and anytime you have any updates that are needed, please complete that form and send it in to the churchwide office. This is very important so that we're able to communicate with you and to other officers on your board. We also have the congregational leaders' instructions on how to update and how to use the database. This is also very important. As a leader, you should keep track of the active units in your congregation. Those are very important for the active unit assessment. And I know before the triennial gathering, that feature is important. So an ongoing update of active units continues to be very important for the organization. If you have any questions related to updating or using the database, you can always contact me. Also, the Synodical Leaders Report as well. I'm a resource for over 4,000 active congregations, and I'll be happy to help you. As was said, other staff members can also help you with your needs so that we can continue to progress and to live out our purpose and our mission of the organization. We are here boldly to mobilize women on their faith in Jesus Christ. Thank you.
Thank you, Eva. Now we're going to hear from Elizabeth Hunter. She is the editor of Gather magazine. Liz?
Everyone can hear me. My name is Liz Hunter, and I work with Sarah Carson, and the two of us um, midwife the Gather magazine uh, production from initiation, where we're thinking of ideas and working with writers and theologians from across the ELCA and even some of our ecumenical partners to fruition when you receive the magazine at home or in your congregation. So Gather Magazine is a wonderful way to support your own faith while also nurturing the faith of those you care about. Gather Magazine nurtures your faith, Bible study, ministry ideas, encouragement, and companionship through first-person articles from lay and clergy women all around the church. Gather Magazine also supports your prayer life and inspires you to praise God and invites you into deeper relationship with your Creator and all of creation. Gather Magazine can also be a gold mine for you of quotes and prayers that you can use when you're called upon to give a devotion or a prayer or reflection at a congregational or group meeting. All in all, it's a wonderful faith resource that you can use to share your faith with friends, neighbors, family members. It doesn't have to be just your circle or your group. And that's especially true in a time when so many people feel isolated and alone. So Gather Magazine, all in all, really is a way for you to give the gift of faith. And let me tell you, that is crucially important right now with women of the ELCA, especially at a time when contributions and thank offerings were seeing a decline due to pandemic. We're also seeing a decline in some circulation numbers from Gather Magazine because, of course, the pandemic is going on, so people can't meet in their congregations, right? There are some who are meeting, but most people can't meet in their congregations. Well, during this time, some people have decided to discontinue the magazine until they're able to do it again. Unfortunately, what that does is it impairs our ability to continue to give the magazine and distribute the magazine to everyone if it goes down too low. So right now we're still at a sustainable level, but if this continues, then we're going to have difficulty doing this. And this is one of the most wonderful things that we can do for people is to share our faith. I mean, this is what we're called to do. And Gather helps you do that. All you have to do is purchase a subscription for a friend or for yourself. It's a form of self-care. It's a form of caring for others. And it's a way for us to hear the voices of so many women throughout our faith community at a time when we're mostly separated from each other. Gather Magazine contains the core Bible study course that it's built around, but all of the supporting articles are first person pieces from women like you, lay women, clergy women, who are sharing their experiences of faith and their walks in life. So what we really, really need from you is to tell your friends about Gather, share your old copy of Gather, sign up someone you love, maybe a college student, a grandkid, a niece, a nephew. Heck, we have men writing us letters about how much they love Gather, and I stick them on the wall. So this is not just something for us to quietly be proud about and hide away and say, oh, we're winning so many awards every year for this great magazine, such a good thing we're doing. No, this is something for us to share. And you can participate in this mission at any level. You can write for us for the Give Us This Day page. We love to have your own first person faith reflections. You can tell us about writers that you like who are ELCA members. You can sign people up in your congregation to get this magazine. You can do something like what I've heard of now from two different people where they got a private grant to give the magazine to everybody in their congregation. And their entire congregation is benefiting from that. And it makes such a difference because people give more to their congregation in their synodical ministries and everything when they're on fire for God and they know their purpose and they're praying and they're praising and they're planning and they're supported in everything. So please, 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 please give the gift of faith with Gather. Thank you. Okay, bye.
Thank you, Liz. Your enthusiasm was noticed in the noted in the chat. You're welcome. All right, we have Valora who's going to speak to us from her perspective as Director for Discipleship. Then we'll have probably about 5 minutes to answer questions. And then we'll be taking our 10-minute stretch break that will include some stretching brought to us by Linda Miranda from the Metro Chicago SWO. And then we have a 5-minute wrap up from Lisa, and then we will be into our thank offering service. So, Valora, 5 minutes.
Yeah. So y'all here, I got 5 minutes, and I can talk about discipleship forever and ever and on and on. But if it had not been a pandemic, some of you would have boarded a plane to Chicago. And through the airport security, following the signs and the voices, directions on the board, you would get to boarding, and you might have heard, this is the flight 123 to Chicago O'Hare. If Chicago is not part of your travel plans today, please deplane at this time. Go to a service counter to rebook your destination. Thank you. First slide, Jason. So no matter what we are doing, we must know who we are and our destination. And as disciples of Jesus Christ, we are going to the church, the society, and the world through women of the ELCA. And as Jesus describes it in the first uh, Acts 1, verse 8, the great command, Jerusalem, Judea, and Samaria, and to the end of the earth. You must know your purpose in order to lead, and you cannot lead where you aren't willing to go. Now, leaders are like GPS to the mission. We don't build roads, you don't make cars, or you don't even teach women how to drive. But as leaders, you hold space for women to grow in their faith, affirm them, and support them by pointing them to resources they need to get in the game, and to act and to promote healing and wholeness everywhere. And the GPS is provides for us the route uh, along with the pivots to get there. So if there's extra traffic or if there's an accident, we know where to go around and how to go over in order to make uh, it to our destination. Jason, discipleship is everything we do. It is our lifelong practice. So it's not for the faint hearted or the squeamish. We wouldn't go to a doctor who doesn't practice medicine. It's just unthinkable. The legend goes that Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player ever, was never without a basketball. And one day, his fifth grade teacher asked why. She was a little irritated about this basketball. And he said, because I must practice. Now, he was a great student, a good kid, and an obedient son. And the teacher said, sort of sarcastically, are you practicing now? And he answered, yes. Then he went on to say, the ball keeps me focused, and all great players do it. Now, she was amused by what this 10-year-old great player was saying. And she asked him the question, are you a great player? And he said, yes. Now, we must practice. That we all know. And even though basketball courts all over the world are the same, players are different. And so are our women. Jordan practiced his pivot. It's a basic discipline that he coupled with timing and building relationships to know how to use his pivot in any situation. Now, whether he was down low, crouched in front of the one who is his opponent, or if he was flying, taking off from the floor into the air to make that basket. Welcome leaders are called to practice. We have to call our women out into the open so that other women can see what WELCA is and who we are and what we do. Jason? And I'm sure that you know by now, or you've recognized by now, that each of the five ministry areas are a part of our discipleship practice. It is this combination of ministry that makes Women of the ELCA a unique community of women called to discipleship that she is. This justice grounds what we do and how we approach the world. Stewardship is our daily practice that provides the resources we need to do what we do. Our intergenerational ministry keeps us focused on a community of women that will live beyond ourselves to continue the work. Membership keeps us anchored in who we are and whose we are, not like the card carrying or the dues paying memberships that we might have in our purse, but the practice of belonging to this community of women called to discipleship and gather. In its name, she says that she keeps us connected to our source, the one who said, follow me. And through the Bible studies and the articles, that put the study into practice, we become better at who we are as women of the ELCA. Our discipleship brings these areas together along with our spiritual practices through discipleship, our discipleship ministry, and our spiritual gifts to live out our mission. God has need of women of the ELCA. And women can find groups and organizations to do each one of these 5 distinct things exclusively. But it is our work as leaders to keep the 5 of them, along with the other parts of our principles and our mission and our ministry, our purpose. We are called to those things to hold them in one single practice. Now, I want to say here, be careful that you check with women of the ELCA first for resources that are designed specifically for you to help you to do this work before you venture out and share and use other resources. And I say that because we have hundreds of resources and print and digital programs and networks and activities that you can use that we've already discerned and vetted for your use. So that will save you some time. Our mission, Linda said this earlier, our mission doesn't change. God doesn't change, but we do and we must. Jason, I want to offer to you a welcome pivot plan. Now, you've been seeing these little diagrams of how to pivot, and they can look complicated, and in some ways they are. But it is in knowing that we can then use this dance to further our mission and our ministry. So I want to offer to you during the 40 days of Lent, time for personal work as WELCA servant leaders. Now, I didn't say elected leaders, I said servant leaders. And then after those 40 days are over, then go into the 50 days of Easter, gathering other leaders in your synodical organization to learn the plays so that you know where you want to go and how you're going to pivot. What are we going to change here? And what are we going to do there to be prepared when we come out of the pandemic? Can't wait until your governor or your mayor says, okay, have at it, and then assume that the women will be ready. Then after that 50-day period, uh, the next 27 weeks of Pentecost, call women out of their units to get ready to go into the game. We know that the women came to the tomb for one person and they pivoted and left resurrected and ready to tell the story of how to get to work. Our women will need to see something different than the traditional and the old activities just kind of dusted off and presented to them. They will come out of the ashes of this pandemic ready for something new and for something different, something that is going to touch their lives and to move them to a place of work. So this work is hard work, it's personal, and it's very relational. And we are to be ready. Now, I was very vague for a reason. We're going to offer this to you by request only. So if your palms are already sweating and you're already anxious and you're not sure that you can do this with even the women in your own unit or in your synodical organization, then you're ready. Give me a call. Thanks.
Thank you, Valora. I appreciate it. And I know everyone else does too. So you've gotten a sense now of ways that the churchwide staff has been pivoting and some suggestions on how you can go about pivoting, making use of that toolkit that Pastor Bullock gave to us, a wonderful gift yesterday.